Hi friends, that's my intro, or ending actually, to Recently by Jim Croce from 1973 from his I Got a Name album. Unfortunately, he died in the same year, plane crash, with his backup guitar player Maury Muleisen, who was probably one of the guys that came up with these great chords. I've been playing this song for quite a while, and I do it a little differently than the record. A little slower, a little jazzier. It's got some nice chords, it's got some voice leading, beautiful lyrics, I think, so let's get into it. You can download the PDF off my site, davesguitarplanet.com. It'll be in the intermediate section this time. And because it's an intermediate tune, I'm not going to take too much time explaining where I put my fingers. I assume you can download the PDF and print it. I'll also put the chord shapes on the screen, I think, most of the time. It's in the key of C, which makes it easy, no sharps and no flats. Not something I think about a lot. I just think about chord shapes mainly, but starts with a C major 7 chord. This progression. And then into the verse. So let's take a look at that. This features some nice voice leading, which is how the voices of the chords change to the next chord. Basically, it's nice to do that as smoothly as possible, and one way to know that you're doing it right is if you don't move your fingers too much. You try to keep common tones. So here's this common C major 7. We're just going to play the middle 4 strings, the A, D, G, and B strings. I've got my first finger on the root, and the voices of the chord, 1, 5, major 7, 3. And that leads very nicely into this C sharp diminished 7 chord. The 3rd and 4th fingers remain stationary, and you kind of swap your 2nd and 1st fingers such that now your 2nd finger's on the 4th fret of the A string and your 1st finger's on the 3rd fret of the G string. You may know the difference between a full diminished 7 and what they call a half diminished 7. The half diminished is part of the diatonic series. Another name for it would be a minor 7 with a flat 5. What a full diminished 7, also the 7 is what we call doubly flatted. They need to call it a 7 still. It's actually the same as a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here's a regular flat 7. A little bit too much detail there, possibly. Into a D minor 7 chord, very, very common D minor 7 shape. Up on the 5th fret with your 1st finger. 1, 5, flat 7, flat 3 are the voices. So far we've got C major 7, and I'm just picking it like a root, then the next string with my 1st finger, and the next 2 strings I pluck at the same time. Same thing on the diminished 7. Same thing on the minor 7. Now it's interesting that instead of going to a G dominant 7, which would be kind of typical, he goes to a G sharp or A flat diminished 7. Again, the half diminished 7 would look like this. Here's a minor 7. If you flat the 5 like that, but we need to take the flat 7 down one more. It's the same as a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Full diminished 7. The diminished 7 chords are, as you may know, a stack of minor thirds. 1, flat 3, flat 3, flat 3. And we call them a wild card chord, often used as a passing chord between two other chords. Major 7, full diminished 7, passing chord to a D minor 7. This time the full diminished 7 is being used as a substitution, I guess you could call it, for G7. And you can notice that these top 3 voices are the same as G7. It's just, you can think of this as a flat 9 in G, or however you want to think of it. So far we've got and it kind of repeats. This time, instead of major 7, I extend it one more note out to make major 9, beautiful major 9 chord. Very simple. You just take the major 7 and you remove your little finger, and now we've got a 9 where we used to have a 3. 2 and 9 are the same. So now the interval's 1, 5, major 7, 9, 5. It's got 2 5s in it. And now to another diminished, full diminished 7. This time a B flat up on the 6th fret is the root with your second finger. This time I like to hear the upper strings, so I'll pick all. And you can put the top E string note in there, which is the same as on the bottom E string. Without it, it sounds okay, but I like to throw in with my little finger there. A little bit of a tough grip, but now I do this. So just a backwards arpeggio, and I pick off, I put the little finger up on the 8th fret, C note. Sometimes I play an open E next into a G7 sharp 5. Here's a regular G7. Here's the 5, that is going to be sharp. And then I slide the little finger up to a 6, which is also a 13. Now we've got a G13, dominant 13 chord. Okay, the intro one more time. All right, I don't play it exactly the same way every time. You don't have to either, but you get the picture. Then I slide up to the 8th fret to this common G major 7, C major 7 grip or chord. We've got 1, flat 7, 3, 5. You can think of this as looking kind of like an A minor. These are both on the same fret, the 8th fret. Used to be that I could see, to a B minor 7 and an E7. Very common grips or chord voicings. And then I like this part. A minor. Down here, open chord with a bass that walks down. We've got the little finger on the G note, and now we're gonna move the second finger off of the E note to an F sharp on the second fret. Now, some people might want to play this chord this way. What did I call it? An F major 6. Really, it's A minor with a G and then a G sharp and then an F bass, but the chord names become different. A minor over G, then a D7 over F sharp with an F sharp bass. That's the third of a D7 chord. Then to an F6 if you need to name it. A lot of times I don't think about the names. Now I go up to, you can think of this as a G type of a shape when I'm just playing the bottom 3 notes. 1, 3, 5. Recently to an A minor bar chord, just the bottom part of it. Recently it seems, E dominant 7. I've been letting A minor, your D minor 7 memory get to G7 me. Then this little figure, something like that. That repeats. Used to be that I could recall that I really wasn't hurt at all, but then recently it seems I've been letting your memory get to me. Okay, now we're into the bridge. Memories can be friends. They can, again, to the G sharp or A flat full diminished 7. Memories can be friends, they can take. Here I do the major 9, C major 9. You can do major 7 if you want. Take you to a place that you never, another full diminished 7, the B flat, never thought you'd be again. D minor 7, take you to a place. Now I do a D9, common 9 grip. Never ever thought that you could see again. Now a nice bit of voice leading. Slow that down. Just a regular G major bar chord. Doing an A minor 7. You can do it this way if you want, or just one finger. Do the full diminished 7 and to a G with a third in the bass. The voice is 3, 1, 5, 1. So G and this kind of picking, bass, D string, upper 2 strings, G and B. Repeat that pattern. And now all at once. And back to the verse. Doesn't matter now who was wrong. The future is tomorrow and the past is gone. And now I find that I'm not as strong as I thought that I used to be. 7 sharp 5, but then recently it seems I've been letting your memory get to me. Now I put in a little chord melody solo section. Chord melody is when you're playing the bass note and the chord and the melody all at the same time. A lot of fun and challenging sometimes. So from the C major 7, here's the melody note on the B string. That's the 5th up to a 6th, back to the 5th. So you gotta use your little finger. Now with your first finger on the 6th fret, melody note goes down and now into a B minor 11 to an E dominant 7. Melody note down on the 3rd fret of the B string to the A minor with a little embellishment there on the B string with your little finger, and the bass run down, and the D7 with an F sharp bass, with the 3rd of the D7 chord on the bottom to the F major 6, or you can do it with your thumb. And the melody continues up here. Let's slow that down a little bit. Da, 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 da. E minor, melody note on the B string again. Starts out on the G string. This might be a little challenging. I do I guess they call it a slur, while holding the A minor 7 chord with your little finger. Now I just put a little rhythm into the D minor 7, G7 chords. That little figure there again. Back to the bridge. Memories can be friends. Diminished 7, they can. Major 9, take you to a place that you. Diminished 7, never thought you'd be again. D minor 7, take you to a place that you. D9, never ever thought that you could. G major. Nice bit of voice leading there between those chords. G, A minor 7, B diminished 7, G first inversion with the 3rd on the bass. Then I like to slide up to a high root, play a regular C chord. Doesn't matter now who is wrong. Future is tomorrow when the past is gone. Like before, but I find that I'm not as strong as I thought that I used to be. With the sharp 5, but then recently it seems I've been letting your memory get to me. Ending how we started. Now I slide up to a C6-9 chord. Barring the 7th fret, 2nd finger 8th fret on the root, 3rd finger on the 5th of the chord on the 8th fret. And the voices are 1, 3, 6, 9, 5, major 7. And if you want to be fancy, some of the pickers like Tommy Emmanuel and Chad Atkins have done this kind of thing. What I'm doing there, make a harmonic on the 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20th fret. This guitar has 20 frets, so it's easy to remember. And then with my 3rd finger, I'm picking the G string. So 20th fret, G string, 19th fret, which is an octave up here from my 1st finger. So I follow the same shape. It's got to be 20, 19, 19, 19, 20. Then I put my little finger down on the 8th fret here. Sounds like this. And then you can lay this part of your hand over the 19th fret and strum with your first finger and get the harmonics right there. That's an old Merle Travis trick. And a root. A little fancier than you might want to do. Might be challenging for you, but it's a lot of fun if you can get it down. Beautiful song. Good luck with it.